All right, before we get started today, go to blipshift.com to get the new Spike's Car Radio shirt, Zigging Zag, from our friend Twain. This is a cool shirt. There's only a couple days left to grab it, so you want to support Spike's Car Radio, go to blipshift.com, go to our partner store, and check out our new Zagato shirt. I guarantee you're going to love it. I personally like the hoodies. I got Zuckerman a poster to hang up in his office. This is one of the good ones. You're not going to want to miss it, and I think there's only 3 days left. So, blipshift.com. All right, let's start the show.
And now, Hangar 56 Media presents Spike's Car Radio, a downloadable cars and coffee, hosted by writer, comedian, and automotive enthusiast Spike Ferriston. Now, here's Spike.
And here we are. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, live and well. I'm freshly tested. I'm with Matt. Matt, what's your last name?
Jacobson.
And you?
Zuckerman.
Yeah, I haven't been tested for dementia yet, but but we're all happy. We're all healthy. You know, I went to that VA testing thing on the west.
How long did it take, in and out?
Okay, listen to this. This is pretty impressive right now because it hadn't been like this since this whole thing started. Signed up, immediately got an appointment for the next day at 2:30. The next day, my 10-year-old's like, I haven't been tested, Dad. I'm like, okay, go on, get an appointment for him. For an hour later, we drive up in your 2010 997.2 GT3. We were the only one there in a GT3, by the way, getting tested.
What a surprise.
No line. People were entertained by the car, which was nice because they're out there working hard, testing everybody.
Is this the new going to the drive-thru in an Aventador Roadster?
No, I posted about it, and people were like, "I'm already doing it," and they told me all the classic cars that they bring. Yeah. And
Can you do an open top?
No, you can't do an open top. You can't do a convertible. You have to have something with the windows going up, and then you drop them down to talk, and then you put them back.
Is perfect for this. The windows are tiny.
You should definitely do it. There was no line. I'm really impressed with the LA testing. No line. The people were nice. You go in. Here's what they have you do. They have you. There's so many different tests at this point. This one is the one where you wear your mask, you cough into your elbow 5 times, and then you swab yourself, your own mouth, your tongue for 20 seconds. Swab, 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 swab. You put the thing in the trash can. 24 hours later, I had my results.
Really?
And it was free.
How interesting.
And so
it's not the shove the one up the nose one.
I will tell you this. It is 3 times faster than the In-N-Out drive-through line.
Absolutely.
The two things that if you want to do this, pick the testing, because In-N-Out is like hours.
It's actually funny.
When I did that one at the VA, I did the same one as you. I happened to get there an hour early. Wasn't a problem. They had my stuff. They put me right through. I did not like putting the thing down my throat. I was retching inside the car while they were standing their hazmat suit outside the car. But it was incredibly efficient. I've had up the nose. Have you done up the nose?
Never had to knock on wood, but I know someone who has. Which makes me wonder if I could.
What do you mean?
That's the Mighty Mighty Boston song, the impression that I get, which is actually about getting tested.
Wow, that was
but I'm
weird...
pretty much just saying I've not had a coronavirus
test.
You
just threw off the whole vibe with that.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, I'm 10 years younger than you guys.
You're also 10 years nerdier than us.
I guess. No one's ever heard the Mighty Mighty Boston song.
I have. Look, I went to music school. I know who they are. I'm just not sure they're worth quoting.
No, I just did
nothing against the Mighty Mighty Boston.
Across, I think, 9 states with a group of people, and we had a doctor with us taking our temperature morning and night. Seriously.
Rectally?
I wish. No. But we learned a lot about coronavirus, and we were very safe. And
well, I think this is the car community who listens. If you can do this, take a nice car down there, get yourself tested, do your part. I'm going to do this every 3 weeks. Does that sound about right?
Just to brighten the folks' day in a nice car?
No, I think we all need to find out who has this stuff, and we want to get rid of it. The way to get rid of it is through testing. So get in your car on a Saturday, go get tested.
I mean, look, go ahead, dude.
And what is, by the way, I was joking, but what is the perfect car to get tested in? Do you have opinions on this?
Something. Well, it's got to have like really good window seals. I'm looking over there at Zuckerman's
Well, what
Alpine
would
White
you-
E39 M5. That's pretty good.
I think I
Rolls
should
Phantom.
take this.
It's gotta
I
be
should
the
take
Rolls
the
Phantom.
51 Lancia. I think we should go in a right-hand drive car.
A right-hand drive car
Yeah.
to really bug them out.
I think it would be cool. Because you're entertaining all the people you bump into. They enjoyed seeing your 2010 GT3, Zuckerman.
How many people? Is there a limit to how many people can be in the car?
Well, see, the first time I went, they asked me. I had the kids with me,
Yeah.
and they were like, "Is everybody getting tested?" Okay, didn't know that, and I go, "No, it's just me." So I think you can test whoever's in the car with you.
Because I've
Oh,
got.
God.
Have
So
you
the
seen
van-
my Delica? My Delica is probably it's right-hand drive, 6-passenger, Japanese vehicle. Which
Wow.
I think that's probably the best one.
That is a wonderful coronavirus.
That would be
vehicle.
good. Today's episode sponsored by our friends at Hawthorne. Are you still wearing polo blue from high school? Yeah, Matt Farah, is that
It's
what you're
polo-
doing?
It's polo red, but yes. sadly-
Zuckerman, are you walking into a Sephora to get cologne? And are you overwhelmed by all the choices?
I'm just overweight, but I'm overweight and overwhelmed.
You're one of those guys still wearing Old Spice like I am. Well, go to Hawthorne.com. They have excellent, personalized, wonderfully premium quality ingredients, things that smell delightful. I went there. I took their quiz. I don't like to make choices. I answered their questions. They said, we're going to send you your cologne. That's how it worked. They didn't say, here, take your choice. They just said, this is the stuff you're going to like. I got a couple bottles of the stuff, put it on at home, and I am not lying to you. I walked from my bathroom up to my office to go to work, because that's how I go to work these days. And everybody in the house said, what is that wonderful smell? My wife said, God, are you wearing cologne? And I said, yeah. She goes, oh, it smells nice. I asked her about it this morning on the way over here. I go, what was that moment about? She goes, you were putting out your plumage because you were trying to get sex. And I go, okay, was not. But good to know that that's
More
how it...
importantly, did it work?
It did. It absolutely did. Later that night.
Was that party or work?
Or both.
Right. One bottle said work, one bottle said play. But it was the work...
play, not party.
But it was the work bottle because it was a daytime and I was going up to my office to work, and I assumed that had less of a, punch to it. But I'm telling you, it instantly worked.
Where did
in
you
my
apply
house.
this to, Ferrison? Where did you apply your cologne?
In the usual spots on the neck, right? Isn't that how you do
Dripper
it?
or a sprayer?
No, it's a dripper. You just put a little on. There's a lot of it, so a liberal amount of it, but it wasn't so overpowering. Anyway, you guys got to check out this service because it's not just cologne. It's all sorts of delightful things to help you stay youthful and take care of your skin, which, as you know, I feel is important. Go to Hawthorne.co. That's Hawthorne with an E. And use my promo code SPIKE, S-P-I-K-E, to get 10% off your first purchase. Hawthorne.co. Don't go to .com. It's .co. They said that in the call to me. I forgot.
There's a .co?
.co is the guys we're talking about. Go to
.co.
Hawthorne.co. Use my code SPIKE. Get 10% off your purchase. I got to blow my nose. All right, gentlemen. Talk while I blow my nose.
Talk while I blow his nose.
Okay, Farah. So tell me this.
So-
you the Urus, huh?
So, okay. Tell everybody what you were doing. So I did this thing called Adventure Drives, which is a sort of luxury road trip event put on by my friend Rob Ferretti. It's sort of a good event for people who are like tired of the traditional stickers and cocaine rallies.
Right.
There's no stickers on the cars, which is very helpful.
Good.
So it was originally supposed to go from Seattle up in... You're hearing that beep too, right, Spike?
It's not a beep. It's a little wheezy. It's a little wheezy fan.
Oh, okay, whatever.
Room, Zuckerman, because of the wheezy fan.
Well, I will get the wheezy
Got air
fan.
conditioning blowing
not
on my
making it
back
into the
right
mic.
now.
Oh, stop crying.
So we were supposed to go into Canada, right, over Banff and all that, but yeah,
You
Canada is closed. And so instead we went down into Portland, which was interesting, and then east across Oregon into like Idaho and Montana, Big Sky, Glacier National Park, Yellowstone.
Was Portland a mess? You're reading about it all the time. but-
Portland was...
or was it just Portland and there was a
So-
block or two that was unrest?
It was more like the second part, where our hotel was probably 6 blocks from the protests, and a lot of things were boarded up and sort of closed down. There weren't very many folks around. It was pretty quiet. And then there was definitely, there were protests going. The protests are like 2 blocks.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not like the whole city's getting burned to the ground or anything.
Right.
Like,
it's an Occupy protest.
Yeah,
like Occupy Wall
basically.
Street.
And like a couple of people lit a couple of little fires. It wasn't like major arson going on or anything like that.
Right.
Anyway, it was, we literally parked, I don't know how many millions of dollars of cars it was on the street, 4 blocks in an outdoor parking lot, 4 blocks from the protests.
Yep.
And because people were nervous about what could happen, one of the cars was literally a gold SVJ.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And so they hired a guard to watch the cars.
He'll do a good job.
I know, right?
One guy.
Right.
One guy to cover
Step
10.
aside,
How many
everybody.
cars?
The guard said a bunch of the protesters walked by and took pictures of the cars. And
Well,
they didn't
of
care.
course.
They're-
Why do they
didn't have a
like
beef with
cars?
Cars, yeah. So anyway, other than
I got to beef with cars.
yeah, other than that, which was awkward, what was really interesting to me was going across like the national parks, Glacier, Yellowstone, Grand Tetons, which if you've never been,
Tetons are
absolutely
amazing.
go. It's incredible.
Yeah.
But like, basically everybody had the same idea this past month. Go west.
Right.
Whether it's an RV or a Sprinter van or the family Ford Excursion or whatever, everybody had the same idea.
Oof. So choked roads, huh?
So what is normally fabulous roads in between these parks in Montana, and granted, the views were fabulous, and I was in a 640 horsepower Urus, so I could make passes pretty much at will, but there was a lot of traffic, a lot of people, a lot of people's first time driving an RV or a fifth wheel, and if you wanted to go into the national parks themselves, Hannah and I, who really like to hike, we would go into the parks at literally 6 a.m., and there would already be a bunch of people in there, but at 9:15, we'd come down from the hike.
I need
and
to
there'd
turn
be like,
this AC down.
Bro,
on me.
switch seats with me. I like AC.
perfect.
Don't be like that.
I'll put you over
This
here.
is great. I love an air conditioner. Go ahead.
You're good.
And so everything would have to be really early, and then it would get really crowded. And what was really crazy about, I've been to crowded national parks before, but no foreigners. 100%.
Here he goes.
This is not racism. I'm just saying.
I gave you the eye.
Like normally, you have many nationalities, foreigners
Right,
coming to
right.
visit national parks.
Yes.
Right now, there are no foreigners coming to America.
Why?
They can't get in. They don't want to come
I don't
in.
think they
Who
wanna come
wants
here,
to
'cause I think
come
we're
here?
dirty and diseased.
We've got the worst.
We're that place now?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
We're,
no.
We are that. We're
we
the
are what's
shithole.
known as a shithole country. We're on the same page. We're shithole country 2020.
And so the parks were full, but with just Americans, which I'm not, by the way, I'm not like pining for this. It's just an observation. It was interesting.
But is it so, I've noticed, I just did a little glide around the Airbnbs, like you say, like in hotels and places I wanted to maybe go in for one night, try to get out of it. But so everything is booked up. Is that just, so the United States citizens, U.S. citizens are just staying in the U.S., and that's
Yes.
all us right now is
Yes.
what you're saying.
And trying to go
And
in the
we're
wide
everybody
open.
else is staying away
we're
from
road
us.
tripping rather than flying.
And we're lepers.
And we're traveling domestically rather
Right.
than internationally.
But on the international scene, we're viewed as a leper colony at this
Basically.
point. Okay, got
I
it.
saw a great tweet this morning that
scary.
said, the rest of the world is watching America like America watched Tiger King.
Right.
And that couldn't be more true.
That's
but like,
great.
Despite the traffic and stuff, like I seriously, maybe off season, can't recommend highly enough seeing these places because they're just incredible.
They're
I mean,
beautiful, I know.
and the Urus, by the way, is I was like sort of as sort of a purist, right, about it, in probably the same way a lot of people were when the Cayenne came out in 2004, sort of, really this? But, as a grand touring car, right, like if they had made a sedan, it would hold less stuff, it wouldn't probably ride as well, it would only handle marginally, the Urus handles fabulously, it would, the sedan, and this thing is so comfortable for
I love
4 people
I
and
love it.
all of their stuff.
Yeah.
It's got a huge trunk.
Yeah.
The handling is incredible.
They sell more of them than
speed
any
is
other
incredible.
Lamborghini, right?
Yeah, and you know Aaron Robinson from
No.
Haggerty? He used to write for Car and Driver, now he's at Haggerty. He owns 2 Espadas. So it's sort of the other black sheep Lamborghini.
Right.
And I just ran into him, and we're talking about the Urus, and I was like, hey, when the Spada came out, did people kind of poo-poo that?
Of course.
And they said, yeah, the purists were like, Mura. But they sold more Espadas while it was out by like a factor of 3. So it's the same thing here with the Urus.
But you were one of those people. Early on, this Urus came out. You
said
didn't
I liked it.
You
I
thought
said
it
I
was,
liked driving
You thought it was
it.
awful looking.
I did not like the styling of it.
But I got into it.
It's
and I went,
grown
this is-
on me
what
for
is-
sure.
It
I
has
thought it was
grown
a
on
special
me.
truck.
It's grown on
It
me, and certain
instantly-
colors are way better than others.
What was your color?
The blue. The light blue is
that's nice.
fabulous. The yellow I had on the launch was terrible.
Yeah, that's too much.
So I asked Lamborghini, like, please, no yellow. But
They need to understand a lot of these car manufacturers have to get it through their heads that these press cars need to be nice looking.
well, I don't think they made the connection with the Pontiac Aztec when they did the yellow ones.
But why is that? I mean, is there a reason they put these nutty colors on these
well,
press
they
cars?
photograph well. They catch.
Do they?
Well, they photograph well in terms of the fact that they show the curves of
Right.
the car in a variety of light
But they don't
conditions.
stir desire in me when I see something I
Sometimes.
love in a color that I hate.
But sometimes you are driving a Byron blue Land Rover SVA
I'm gonna get to
right
that.
now. That is the definition of a launch color.
Okay.
That's what a launch color is.
I love that color first.
I do,
And
too.
I was just driving this truck. I got here a little early. Zuckerman was holding a little meeting, so I took a little drive. I realized I hadn't driven this thing. I got to turn it back Tuesday. And I
so
do
good,
want to
isn't
talk
it?
about
It's
it.
good fun.
As I was enjoying myself in it, I was thinking about the manufacturers really need to pay more attention to better colors for their press cars because I'm enjoying this truck more because of the color. I love Byron blue.
Blue gray is very hot right now.
I'm craving it.
Porsche did it first a couple years ago.
But it makes me like the car more.
Well, the right color helps.
look, I'll compare it to the Turbo S I had. The new Porsche Turbo S is outstanding. What an incredible vehicle. It was this bright color red that I did
Wasn't
not.
it Carmine?
It was a Carmine.
Yeah,
Right.
The same one I drove, right?
I didn't
Yeah.
like the red, and it diminished my love of the vehicle and desire maybe 8%. Right? But still,
8.2.
it took away a desire for it.
Yeah.
When
Interesting.
when I turn over this Land Rover, what a name, Range Rover Velar SVA Autobiography Dynamic Edition.
That's a dumb name.
I will feel a little bit of loss because not only is the vehicle great, and I just really ripped around in it. That color is addicting. I'm very reactive.
good color.
to I took it out. So listen, I jammed down. Zuckerman, you heard me take off
Yes,
right here,
it was
right?
fantastic.
It goes. I take it down the 10 out to the PCH and turn around. As I'm coming back PCH into the tunnel, right? You know where that is under the 10.
The McClure Tunnel.
I look to my right, and there's a angry, bald, white guy. That kind of angry, like contractor guy from
mean
that
like-
only California can provide.
Wait,
Zuckerman.
like standing in the tunnel,
no,
or
no.
like in a
He's
car?
in a murdered out,
Oh.
brand new Ford Raptor.
Oh.
Okay. And we're wheel to wheel in that tunnel. You know how you start in the bright sun, and then you go into the dark, and then you're like, okay.
It's like going into the tunnel in Monaco.
Yeah, it takes us. Your eyes don't
the
adjust.
Monaco Grand Prix.
But we're wheel to wheel, and I'm like, oh, this is fun. So I've got my eye on the left kind of curbstone, and I'm hugging it, and I hear him, oh, and he's got a sound, and he doesn't know what this is. And I go, oh, and now we're wheel to wheel, and it's open in front of us. We come out of the tunnel, and I get on it in this Velar, which I know what he's
550
thinking about
horsepower.
it. 550 horsepower, 500 foot-pounds of torque, and I blow him away.
Well, yeah.
He's got a murdered out Raptor with something going on in the engine.
Yeah,
he
but
catches
Raptors
up.
aren't fast.
He catches up. I'm laughing because now this smaller Land Rover has just destroyed him.
Yeah.
And he tries to make a move. You know, I'm in the left lane.
Oh.
He's coming up behind me. He goes to the right for the pass, and I jump on it again. Destroyed for a second time.
Oh, no.
I come up next to him. His window's down, and he doesn't give me a look. He doesn't flip me off, but he's just like, ugh. He's like,
Ferguson
I've ruined his Raptor for
a black
him.
belt from the PCH dojo. He just slams the guy.
But So
And those Raptors don't sound very good when you want them
it
out
sounded
to.
pretty good. It
Really?
actually sounded good.
I think
yeah,
they're a
it looked
little
like
over.
it had
I think the Raptor was when I saw one 8-9 years ago. I was like, wow, that's something else.
this
But
wasn't a Hennessy
The V8
Raptor.
ones are all, like I had a V8 one. It was great. The new 6-cylinder ones sound like.
This was not stock. He had something going on with it, but apparently just an appearance
enough.
package.
big credit to Range Rover for kind of putting itself past the Evoque, which was kind of a stillborn vehicle, and the Velar though seems to be doing the trick.
So they're the SVO SVR guy, the guy who makes the fast Jags and Land Rovers, the head of that program. His name's Jamal Hamidi. He is a friend of mine. He's hilarious, and he used to be head of SVT at Ford. So he was responsible for the Ford GT, all the modern Shelby Mustangs, the Raptor. The GT350 with the flat plane crank. Those are all this
Magic
guy's
Touch
products.
guy.
And then Jaguar got
Wasn't
him.
that Dave Parasek?
Dave was the program director. Jamal was the chief design engineer. Yeah.
Interesting. So those are the two guys.
Yeah.
Words and music.
Yeah,
Together.
Dave Persiak's a badass too.
Is that how you pronounce his last name?
It's Persiak, I believe.
I've heard it 8 different ways.
It's spelled funky.
but he made the Bronco. which
oh
we're
yeah,
all
he's
loving.
still at
right,
Ford.
Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah. I'm so excited for the
Anyway,
Bronco. Bronco looks great.
let's go back to the Velar for a second because the first series Range Rovers were called Velars, right? The old back in the day. They had
were they? I didn't.
Velar
I've
right
never
across
heard that
the
before.
front.
I never.
Get out of
which
here.
is why.
Really?
Oh yeah. I almost bought one.
Like 60s Series 1 Land
No,
Rover?
70s.
Oh, the first Range Rover?
First Range Rover.
So like
yeah.
Versus state
two-door-
wagons.
There was one, and I saw it on some British site, and it was before the Range Rover craze. It had the word Velar across the
Really?
front, and I went, "What is that?" And apparently there were 8. And I don't have this right, but I thought I read 8 to 10 test vehicles originally called the Velar.
Get the fuck out.
And that's
That
where
would've
it
been-
comes
that's
from.
awesome.
Now this is smaller, but they do, if you notice, call it the Range Rover Velar, which is its reference, which would be my only kind of
Well,
complaint.
it's sold under the Range Rover brand and not the Land Rover brand, which has different implications.
Really?
Yeah.
What are
Land
the
Rover
implications?
has what? Discovery?
Land Rover is more off-road focused and a little less luxurious, and the Range Rover has a design language and a materials construct that is more street-oriented.
Farah.
Yeah.
Very educational, Professor
But everything's
Farah.
Land Rover.
Everything
Things
is
are-
Land Rover, but not everything is Range Rover.
Right.
Right? Like everything is General Motors, but not everything is Chevrolet.
Right. I'm not sure. I
Or
understand
Pontiac, or Oldsmobile, or
Like there's like for instance, like there's Land Rover.
Yes.
And you have the Land Rover Defender.
Yes.
The Land Rover LR4.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And the
Different
Land Rover
models.
Range Rover.
Right.
You then have the Range Rover Sport.
Right.
The Range Rover Velar.
Yes.
And the Range Rover, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, so
I guess if you look at it as a size thing, it goes down. Anyway,
work
and the
charts.
Range Rover Evoque. The Range Rover's Evoque.
I posted on Instagram about this, and it was very controversial. People were very upset about, most notably, our friend Steve Serio from Aston
For
Martin,
what?
New England.
What was he upset about?
He just, very hyperbolic. Lots of insanity about his Velar never worked, and nothing was right with it. And I asked him, was it a first series truck? And he said, yeah. And I go, well, don't you think you just got a bad apple about what? But there's some sort of vibe that the Velar gives off that I think is undeserving.
Is it
Like
the
it's-
Evoque?
Like a douche vibe or like a secretary
like
vibe?
like a junior Land Rover. I don't know.
I
But
think you can
but
use
it's-
that
but
to your advantage with this vehicle because I think it's a great sleeper.
I just did.
yeah, it's
This
a good
one
sleeper.
is a great sleeper. What's the price point on this thing?
Well, this is expensive. It's almost $100,000.
Holy shit!
It's
Okay.
99,000. Here's
Yeah,
the
but actually, I think it's the best Range Rover you can get for under $100,000. I'd rather
Probably.
have this than a Sport with
Yeah.
the little engine.
all I need is a tow hitch on it. Here's the interesting effect it has on you. You get in, and I have a Range Rover Sport. You get in, you feel like you're in a big SUV. You get out, you're taller than it. And it's a bizarre thing, and it never changes. You never get used to it. You're looking around going, I've got everything I need. I've got enough room for everything. The music in it is great. The interface for my phone and everything is fantastic. Everything's simple and easy to use. You get out and you're bigger than it.
It is more of a wagon with air suspension than it is an actual. They've really, like, people don't like wagons and people do like SUVs, but they don't want them to. But they still want the 22-inch wheels, so they really have had to make this shape of vehicle that's really more like a wagon, but where your seat is a little taller and you got 22-inch wheels. That's pretty much what
22s.
Folks want. The Urus I drove had 22s on it. You wouldn't want to go bigger. You can get bigger. You can get 23s on this thing.
One of my
On which
partners
one?
On the Urus.
Really?
You can get 23s.
retarded.
Factory.
Does that make it a lot less stable?
No, I recommend the smaller of the two wheels for ride quality, and it still looks great.
What size wheel when you start rolling? What's that wheel?
What?
When you catch
roll
an edge.
over?
Yeah, when you
It's
get
more about your
wheels
tires.
get too big.
You can go too big for sure. It depends on the car, obviously.
Well, and that you're changing just the engineering of the truck.
And the overall diameter has to stay the same. So if you keep going up in wheel size, your tire has to keep getting thin. Eventually, you can't get a thin enough tire.
Right.
anymore.
So here's an example. My partner, John, he got a new Navigator, very big car, and somehow it came through our friend Dean, courtesy of Dean, with these very, very kind of street rims that 22s that didn't make sense look-wise, and the rubber...
They're factory or they're aftermarket?
I don't know. If they're factory, they sure look aftermarket to me. And they had the thinnest rubber I've ever seen for a Navigator. So he got to the first toll booth south of the border at Rosarito and blew out 2 tires. and I said to him, look, he acted surprised. He said to me, the roads are bad. I said, no, it's your wheel and tires are not designed for anything other than cruising Sunset Boulevard slowly.
Yeah.
This is not a drive to Mexico Navigator package.
Yeah, you need to get some 19-inch
Right,
wheels
with
some
fat
meaty
rubber
tires, and then you're good for Mexico. Yeah.
Well,
I only think before the last thing I want to say about the Urus is it's so easy to drive so fast.
Yeah.
And my just kind of comfortable not paying attention speed was around 120. Seriously. And
looking at Hannah while you're looking over.
it was so easy. And my wife, who is not normally a fast driver, and I was trying to teach her, sort of the art of road trip driving, making passes on those single lane roads and using a radar detector and Waze and all this kind of stuff. And she had never driven over 105. And she went 138 in the Urus a couple times, and I was like, oh, good. And then after that, her brain got a little recalibrated, and so she started cruising at 105 to 110.
That's good. I've known some people you can't teach something called depth perception.
Right.
If passing does require some depth perception being born into you.
Yeah, you have to be doing that math all the time. Yeah. But she, when we got back to Los Angeles, you pass San Bernardino, you're coming back from there. She's still kind of driving like this, and I had to be like, no, we're back in the city now. You can't drive.
Okay, what was your miles per gallon on your trip?
Shockingly,
That's what I was going to ask.
so it was terrible in towns. The thing literally gets 8 in towns. But on a stretch of the highway in Utah, I had the cruise control set at 100 miles an hour for 100 miles, and I didn't touch it. That's how empty this one road was. Didn't touch it at all for 100 miles, and I wrote it down. And I got 20.4 at 100 miles an hour for 100
There should be
miles.
clapping added.
That's pretty
to
good.
the soundtrack.
Yeah, that's really good.
It's actually aerodynamics and gearing are good. Yeah.
I'm a big fan.
It was a really it doesn't feel as special as a Huracan or an Aventador, obviously, but it was a really,
but not
really
everybody
nice.
is going to, I thought I don't own any Lamborghinis, and this would be the Lamborghini I owned. Right?
So
you
many
know what I
people
mean?
we saw on the street and in towns and stuff were like, "Oh yeah, this because it's comfortable and you can use it."
Yeah, and it kind of covers my Lamborghini itches.
It's a real GT car.
I love the leather finishes in there.
Yeah, there's a lot of good surfaces, and this one I drove had $64,000 in options on it.
Really?
Yeah. The F8 Spider that I drove last week had $100,000 in options.
Wow.
on it.
Do you think there'll be a point in our lives when a car has $500,000 in options?
You can get over $1 million in options on a Koenigsegg or a Chiron.
What would you do to it?
The bare carbon, the naked carbon body,
Ooh,
because
that'd
they
be
have
cool.
to line up all those weaves
Yeah, yeah,
across
yeah.
the panels, is something like $850,000 on a
Wow.
Koenigsegg.
Wow.
Maybe 850,000 euros, which, considering
hell
we're
of-
in a shithole country,
That's
is
a
probably
hell of
$1 million.
That's a hell of a weave.
It would be good to
Go to the
know
weave shop.
what is. Yeah, I wonder what the most option car out there is. If anybody knows what that is.
Call it into us.
I believe Koenigsegg is the most optionable vehicle, I think, from a money perspective.
You know what? With everything going on in our country right now, a lot of people are asking if it's possible to buy life insurance at all. The answer is yes. It's still easy to shop for life insurance right now, and if you have loved ones, depending on your income or lack thereof, you probably should. Right now, you can save $1,500 or more by using Policy Genius to compare life insurance policies when you're shopping for a policy that could last for a decade or more. Those savings really start to add up. Policy Genius, by the way, big fans of Spike's Car Radio. Hello to you, and thank you for jumping in
I
and
will tell
sponsoring.
you, I'm a big believer in insurance.
Yes, you are, and I know. We have plans for Policy Genius, Zuckerman. We're going to do that for sure.
It's going to pay off better than the lottery. So you got better chance of winning.
When Zuckerman's in the room, you need Policy Genius. Here's how you can support us. Go to policygenius.com. In minutes, you'll be able to work out how much coverage you need. They don't just have life insurance. They have all insurance. Anything you need. Car, house, boat, optioning your Lamborghini Urus insurance. Policy Genius works for you, not the insurance company. Here's all you need to do. Head to policygenius.com right now to get started. Their focus, I guess, this week is on life insurance. Head to policygenius.com right now, and you can save $1,500 or more by comparing quotes on their marketplace. Policy Genius, when it comes to insurance, it's nice to get it right. I've been there. I was on their site. I like those places where you can go to one site and get everything, right? It's the bundle. Why do I need 8 different insurance companies for 90 different things? Do you know what I mean?
Too bad you can't get
PolicyGenius.com.
insurance for people you see out there walking in the street. Like you could just sit at a cafe and say,
Got a
okay,
QR
I'm gonna
code on
insure-
their palm.
Yeah,
Like, let me
I'm gonna,
scan that.
Yeah, well, I'm going to insure this guy for 1 year. I don't think he's going to make it.
Oh, that's good. That sounds like a startup idea that you could do.
It's unfortunately
Just like
against the
death-
law.
I mean,
'cause
that's just death gambling.
You can't really do that, Spike. You can't gamble on someone dying. It tends to promote illegal activity.
No, we used to have the death pool back in the day at Letterman, and back when it was fresh in the writers' room, we'd have a death pool going on. We didn't actually put down money, but we would go to try to make each other laugh. Like,
Get any of them?
well, here's the interesting thing: NBC News, and I remember seeing it when I was an intern at 30 Rock. My friend said, "You got to check this out." I go, "What is this?" He goes, "This is the bag of pre-made obituary tapes for people they
Yes.
think are going to die."
Oh, yeah.
And he held out, "Look at Nixon," and it was just like, and it was like all old famous people. And I go, "What is the point of that?" He goes, "Well, on the weekends, if someone dies, we'll have the obituary ready to go, and these are the people who are kind of getting close." But it was literally a Santa sack with some quarter-inch tape in it. It was
There
really
was,
cool.
Do you ever
Well,
hear
you
about
know, some of our friends already have their obituaries written.
Who's that?
Anybody famous has their obituary already written.
Who does the writing? Who
They
wrote
have
it?
obituary writers. There's a whole. These guys are busy.
Obituary writers.
They got a whole. You may even
they
have
got
one.
an out-of-work
Not a lot of
screenwriter?
real information here, just a lot of theory. Yes,
No,
sir.
this is 100% true.
Okay.
100%. New York Times. I can.
Oh, that
prove
is
it to
true.
you.
I did read that article.
Yes,
You're
they
right.
have. So anybody who's famous, they've got it in the can already. So that
Yes,
they can
that's
pull
what
it
I'm
out,
saying.
Punch it up a little bit and get it
Correct.
in the paper the next day.
That'd be fun to be that writer.
Yes,
I'm
nobody's
sure
caught
it's not depressing
flat-footed.
at all.
Not really.
You know, I love
you
the
read the-
Of
do you
course
read the
I do.
obituaries?
I love them.
I've seen some.
Why do you
love-
love obituaries?
I love to read a little bit about the history. I love a little bit of a little sadness that comes over me about the passage of time, and I can mourn a little bit and get it over with in all of a minute or two, and then get back on with my day.
You're not going, I got you beat? Nah, that guy beat you.
Well,
He's
no,
my age. Beat you.
No, and I like to read about these accomplishments that mattered so much in the 60s or 70s, 50s. Right. Wow.
What people's legacies are, what
Yes.
they're remembered for.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you think people will write about you, Zuckerman?
A horrible human being. He was known. His friends liked him for some reason that no one else understood.
And he will be coming back to this planet in another form as a skink.
Or a mangy possum, something low to the ground. I always told you
Low to the ground.
that eats garbage and
What
is
were we
is reviled.
What were we looking at on the internet? Animal video this week. There's something you could have come back as. There was some horrible beast. I can't remember if it
With
was
the porcupine eating a corn on the cob.
Yeah, maybe it was that. It could have been that, or it could have just been a really ugly chihuahua.
Did you ever see the, I think it's CNN, has like the end of the world tape? Where I think it was from the Cold War or something.
Really?
It was literally if the apocalypse was literally imminent, like in minutes.
Like right now. Yes.
80s Russian missiles incoming.
Yes.
They had this tape that was like the fucking
Really?
the end of the world tape.
Wow.
And I'm
Can
pretty
we get a
sure-
copy of it?
Where is
I'm
that?
pretty sure a copy of it exists on YouTube. I remember seeing it. It does. It exists on the internet.
It's
somewhere.
like that's like the fabled Jerry Lewis Holocaust comedy movie.
Not fabled.
It's true. Well,
It's
fabled.
real.
It was made and then canned immediately, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
No one. Yes, they decided you cannot show
There
this
are
movie.
comedy writers and comedy people who have seen it. I am not one, but I know several who have seen this.
And is it funny or horrifying or both?
I don't recall what they said. It's it's exactly what you imagine it would be. It's not like they came back and go, I don't know why he didn't release it.
I mean,
it's
Jojo
wonderful.
Rabbit managed to be a good Holocaust comedy.
And then
actually.
Roberto Benigni kind of pulled off that thing,
What was
20
that?
years ago, where the comedy in the concentration camp movie, he won an Oscar for
No,
it.
Roberto Benigni did. Jojo Rabbit, I watched 10 minutes of, and I can't watch this
Funny,
garbage.
Steve Glass said
I thought
was
Jojo
his
Rabbit
favorite
was
movie.
hilarious.
Huh. I thought
Give
of
it
it.
another try, Spike. Jojo Rabbit's
The
really
first 10
funny,
minutes
and I'm a
in, when I
Jew.
saw the jokey Hitler, I just went garbage. And it's not what I like. It's not. I don't need weird Hitler fantasies. It's nothing against, and it wasn't even the subject matter.
This is the difference between a quarter Jew and 100% me and you. Me and you would delight in this. He is like, I don't understand a joke of Hitler because he doesn't understand it's all we think about.
Yes.
Right?
What do you mean? I don't understand.
You don't understand. Not like us. You just can't.
I can't.
You
So
can't.
that's why I don't like Jojo Rabbit.
Yes.
It was
No,
really.
Nazi revisionist comedy history is kind of funny.
Look, I like Hitler like the rest of you guys. I like that sort of. I like a good Hitler movie. I like a Schindler's List. It was less about that than it was about the creative license taking with a subject and the style of movie I saw unfolding before me that had nothing to do with Hitler. And I just thought, I'm not up for this stupidity.
You can't enjoy it like we do.
But here's what I don't like. And you know me, you know what I like. I like if my fiction is going to be kind of historical, I want it to be kind of accurate. It doesn't have to be absolutely
what
accurate.
about like Inglourious Bastards?
I didn't like it.
Really, Django Unchained.
Didn't like it.
Oh, I see. Okay, I see it. So you don't.
I didn't hate Django Unchained, but I didn't. It's a little over the top for me.
Right, but all three of those movies are like fiction set in a factual period.
right,
You know.
that pushes it a little too far for me.
Okay, well, that's
Right?
fair.
Does that make sense?
At least you're consistent.
It's a matter of taste.
You're consistent.
But I'll give
You're
Jojo
fine.
Rabbit another time. Erica loved it. She thought it was
but
wonderful.
Now, you do like when Hitler in the bunker is taken and
Yes.
the other situations are played out.
Do you mean on the internet
You like
when
the
they
memes?
do the Hitler
yeah,
videos?
the Hitler
Yes.
memes. Yeah,
I love
Hitler-
those. Those are the greatest.
The first one of those I ever saw.
and by the way, I love the movie that's taken from.
Yes, that
is
was-
wonderful.
The first one of those I ever saw on YouTube was Hitler finds out that using launch control on the Nissan GTR will void your warranty.
That's a great one.
But they advertise you could do 0 to 60 in 3 seconds.
No, it's good. That's really good.
Yeah. There's about 6 months I see a new one.
The GT they did one with the GT3 Touring
Right?
and the
Oh,
911R.
and the 911R.
That was really funny.
But they said they could flip it.
I went to the site that puts it up so you can put in and write the lines yourself, but I couldn't figure out how to make it work. I was going to send Jerry a bunch of fun ones just based on our stupid inside jokes, but
That's actually funny.
it didn't. I'll have to go back. I really want to write my own lines for it, but I just couldn't get it to work right.
Some say you're a comedy writer.
No, I've got the lines. I couldn't get them into
You
the
just couldn't
thing.
get in the software.
Yeah.
I mean, we could also get you just the movie scene, and you can do it on like Adobe Premiere.
I've got enough to do right now. I'm terribly
Go down
behind
the
with what I've
wormhole.
got to do.
Yeah. A lot of people have been suggesting jobs for me too. I'm like,
So, Matt Farah, your place is finally open. I noticed on the internet. Congratulations.
dude, I'm sweaty because all morning I was throwing away and cutting up cardboard boxes from furniture. But yeah, dude, it's amazing. It's beautiful. We got
And people are moving in their cars.
people who have reservations are now moving in their cars.
This is when you're going to get all your business. Now,
Right.
anybody listening who goes, I have extra cars and need to put them somewhere,
Totally.
they can call you right now and
Yes.
take care of it.
You know how many times I've used your line
What's that?
that I'm in the right now business.
You're in the right now
You
business.
that's
right.
because I was sweating about not getting a lot of early deposits.
Right.
And you were like, nah, you're in the right now business.
Right.
The second you say you're open, people will go, oh, I need that right now.
Yes.
Show up, pay me, and move in.
Yes.
And that has happened.
Yes.
And so we're going to have our grand opening. We can't have a party, which sucks because I'm good at having parties. But we're going to have a 3-day grand opening over Labor Day weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like 6 hours a day, where families or individual groups will be able to book like a 20-minute block. And I'm doing tours. I'll have displays that show how all the science of the place works because there's a lot of engineering in there, and you get to see everything, and we'll have photographers
Are
coming
your
in to play.
filtration systems able to take the virus out of the air?
We have, I mean, yeah, kind of. The
I was just thinking of the all of the basilisks, like little miniature hot dogs of virus and little.
Well, there's a
little
recommended filter, HEPA filter.
we
that
have
just
HEPA
pulls it up.
filters.
Yeah, right.
And we
There you
also have an exhaust system that is designed to exhaust 10 cars running at once indoors. And
so everything that's coming in there goes
it
up
goes
and out.
straight up.
Oh,
If
that's
you cough,
that's
it's
it. There
up
you
the
go.
Ceiling. And actually, what
If
I
you
really
cough,
want to do,
if you smoke a cigar,
Yeah.
if you cough in your car running, smoking a cigar, and at COVID,
Right.
it's just going to go up and right through the roof.
what I
Perfect.
really want to do, but I need to get approval, I think, from my alarm company to do it. I got a little fog machine,
Right.
And I kind of want to like fog the floor and then hit the fans. Just, you know what I mean? Get a
What
good
does that
visual.
do?
Just get a good visual of
What about
smoke
dry ice?
going
Oh,
out.
wow. Yeah.
But I'm worried it might fill it with smoke. It might set my fire alarms off. I'm worried. If it does, it'd be a real problem
Yeah. Why?
because my roll-up gates are on independent fire alarm triggers,
Oh,
and
boy.
if they drop, it's like tens of thousands of dollars.
Let's do
Oh,
it.
wow.
Let's do it. It's like Jerry with that watch that we want to watch. He's got that watch. That
Yeah, the rescue Breitling.
the Breitling emergency. It's
Yes.
like $25K if you pull out the
I told
antenna.
him I begged him. I said, "Look, I'll pay it. Let's see who shows up at Bill's. I don't actually believe anyone's coming.
No.
We said there's a guy in like a shack, a rum dum somewhere in a shack.
Like who works at a country club driving range.
Yeah.
Is that guy waiting for emergency calls
This
on
never
Breitling
happens.
watches?
They shut down the frequency that those used.
Really?
Like a year ago.
there you go. See,
I did when I was doing the watch show, I looked up the Breitling emergency for the history of Breitling.
Right.
And what it does, it's on a military frequency. You pull out this fucking antenna from the watch and you unscrew it and you like hang the watch from like a tree and the military comes to rescue you, right? But it's on this special frequency that they don't use anymore. They have a modernized frequency.
So it's
if you
worthless now.
But if you get the brand new one, the one they sell now, it's on the current frequency. So I don't know.
what if you get an old one? No one's coming, right?
I don't think so. I
always knew
really
it.
don't think so.
No one's coming.
I think if he's got one of the old ones from the 90s or the early 2000s, I think no one's coming.
You think?
Yeah.
That's a
but
25.
I could call the Breitling rep and find out.
Please,
I will.
please. And
Yeah.
tell him, if we just did it as a test, could we set up a test at Bill's to take one of these watches, pull out the rip cord,
be
and
so
see
awesome.
who the fuck shows up?
Yes. Please let me be.
And how would they show up that it's worth $25,000? A
in a
guy,
helicopter, in theory.
I know. I want a Saint
But if you're
Bernard
at
with
Bill's-
a jug of rum, like the Mounties.
It's an air rescue thing.
It ain't happening.
but won't they notice you're not in the water at Bill's? I mean, what? I have so many questions about this
I
watch.
think they show up anyway.
There must be a page somewhere on the internet that talks about false alarms for the Breitling
talk to the
emergency.
rep. Tell him
Yeah.
that we want to prove that it works.
By the way, just
Or
talk to him.
doesn't.
Just talk to him to see if you can get some stories. I want to know what's really gone on here with this watch. You know what I mean?
Imagine that, like, somebody's partying, they've got the watch, they've run out of blow. Pull
So-
the ripcord.
So the new here's an article from 2015, and the emergency 2 was allowed. The emergency was introduced in 1995 and contained a one-time use 121.5 megahertz frequency beacon antenna, which, when activated, created a signal that search and rescue organizations monitored. According to Breitling, 40,000 watches were sold between 1995 and 2010. I assume he's got one of the originals. According to Breitling, no false alarms were ever recorded coming from a Breitling emergency watch.
Was any alarm ever recorded?
Yes, 20 people were rescued thanks to someone wearing and using one. So why did they discontinue it? The 121.5 megahertz frequency was being deprecated in favor of the higher frequency 406 megahertz signal with a longer
Deprecated.
range and is able to track moving objects in a way the original one was not. That's why they made you hang it on a tree. Now you can still wear it. Thus, they had to innovate, blah, 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 blah. Now we have the Emergency 2, which transmits on both.
I want rescue details.
I don't know if someone's showing up if you've got the older one.
I fell off a jetty and it activated, and I was on the beach by the time they rescued me.
Yeah, rescue organizations like those weirdos who come to get trapped cats.
Yeah.
There's a cat.
You know what I
in
think
their
of?
mailbox.
You remember when Erica got in her car accident, she was wearing her Rolex Presidente, whatever it is, the presidential gold Rolex the girls have, and how that watch saved her wrist. Her
getting
hand hit the
smashed?
dash,
Yeah, I've heard that.
the bracelet broke, and her wrist did not. And when we brought it into Rolex, they said, we see this all the time. These watches stop people's
They're
wrists from
wrecking
getting...
my practice.
It was great. Rolex is ruining your practice.
So all those broken wrists I could have collected.
Hey, what do you guys think about shifting gears here? Sturgis is happening this week.
Oh, boy.
The 250,000 bikers are headed there, and none of them
That
seem to
age
be
group
working.
really shouldn't be without masks.
Dude, these are not smart people.
You would think, right? I mean, what is the thinking there, that we're tough and it doesn't apply to us?
I mean,
or-
maybe if I give them the littlest benefit of a doubt, it's that they're going to be outside. Maybe being outside is better than
Right.
being inside. That
It
is
is.
that's true.
Oy vey.
Right? It's better. It's not perfect, but it's better.
If you have a town of 7,000 people and an additional, that's a small town, 250,000 people crowd into a town built for 7,000, they're going to be at close quarters, and they tend to be yelling over the motorcycles, yelling, screaming, flashing their boobs.
But outside doesn't seem to be, and flashing the boobs isn't dangerous.
Have you seen those boobs?
They could fling sweat on you from
Yes.
across the street. No,
As long as they're outside, though, right? But they're,
but it's not everything.
It's not good.
It's going to be bad. It's
Yeah.
Bars, I don't know, bars, restaurants, whatever.
I love that the toughness of the tough guy, biker guy is like, I don't have to worry. It's none of the bravado matters. You're an organism.
It's your
like
germs.
You're like
It's
anybody
germs.
else. It's going to get into you or it's not. You're just a host.
On our just road trip, we went to Jackson, right?
Right.
Where Jackson Hole is in Wyoming.
I love that place.
I do too. Normally a
the
town of
greatest
what, like 15, 20,000 people, right? With tourists, maybe it's like 40, right? They told us there it was like properly busy. They told us that tourism was up 30% from last year in
Wow.
Jackson.
Right.
And meanwhile, restaurants and all this stuff have restrictions. No indoor dining, limited indoor dining, but tables separated, blah, blah. So actually, and we're not talking about 250,000 people. We're talking about, 40 or whatever it was.
Right.
It was really hard to, get food. Like to do some really basic things.
Right.
It was a challenge, and Jackson was one of the only places on our whole trip where I wore a mask outdoors because it was like I was like, oh man, there's a lot of people here. So pretty much the only place on our trip where I was
Did you see any moose?
Yes.
Aren't
we
they
saw
great?
moose. We saw baby moose.
Yeah.
We saw baby bear. We hiked
Really?
up the Jackson Hole ski mountain. Like we hiked the whole mountain, which
That's
was
an
awesome.
amazing mountain.
It was so cool.
I used to ski there in college.
And we stayed at the Snake River Lodge, which was
Oh,
really
yeah.
cool. You know, we know the owner of that place, our friend Doug Cohen, who comes to COVID and Coffee, is the owner of the Snake River Lodge.
COVID and coffee every Sunday at Bill's, 8 to 10 a.m. Don't forget to go in to Bill because he won't come out to you and get rich. I'm going to be there with a Mustang. This
Mustang?
past Sunday. I have your Grabber Lime
Oh, the GT500?
GT500. Yeah.
Have you driven it yet, or does it
Shelby.
come tomorrow?
I took it out for a drive yesterday.
Best.
It's pretty wild. I
That
haven't formed
gearbox
any
changes
thoughts.
the game, doesn't it?
I haven't really formed any opinions about it. I've only done a couple little cruises, but it's quite a different thing.
The gearbox really changes.
Yeah, I'll review it on the show and talk about it after I've driven it. Like you said, I've got a lot of press cars at the house this morning.
When it rains, it pours.
Right. The Ducati Multistrada.
Oh,
with,
really? Oh,
big
cool.
fat cans, saddlebags on the side. Panniers, they call them, Zuckerman. Like,
do they call them?
Panniers.
You keep your panties.
Yeah, I had
in
3
there.
press cars this week. I had the F8 Spider. I did the Targa 4S, the new Targa. I now have the Toyota Camry TRD, which I left at the shop.
Oh, wow.
Which actually is really a really interesting product. You should get it. And then next week I've got 3 more cars and that Ducati Scrambler 1100.
Oh, wow. You went to that
A
one.
lot going on. A lot of cars.
The Street Fighter. Oh. You got to get the Street Fighter.
I'm scared of it.
It's awesome. No, you'll like
I'm
it.
scared of it.
In a lot of ways, and I've only driven the Multistrada. I thought the Multistrada was going to be a lot easier to ride, but it's turning out to be quite a big thing.
Take the bags off.
They're not bags; they're like metal containers. And
Definitely take them off.
Well, I wanted that. I requested it because I want to run errands in it. I want to go to the grocery store. Okay. I was going to come here today, but I wanted to review that car, the Velar. But I want to do things on a motorcycle, and I found I was going to Bill's on the Street Fighter, which I really fucking love that bike. But I'd get there, get a handful of bagels. Now I'm stuffing stuff down my shirt. And now I'm riding
Put
back
the
like
bagels
Santa
in
Claus.
your pants.
So I called Ducati. I said, hey, get me the Multistrada. I really want to acquaint myself with what I call the Swiss mailman genre of motorcycles, the uprightness and the delivery of things. But what I didn't know about these bikes is they're much bigger. Like, you get on them, and I'm 5'10".
You tippy-toed
I'm
when
tippy-toed. Yeah, I'm tippy-toed.
Sometimes they have adjustable height seats. Maybe you can make the seat lower.
I think I'm going to end up... Look, out of all the stuff I've driven so far, the Ducati brand has really been the one that I went, oh, this is me right now. And the Street Fighter... idea with a fairing, I think, is where I'm going, and I don't know maybe that's going to be. I think the Panigale is what they call it, with a bag. I don't mind the riding position down low, but I do need
I should give
a
you my
tank
Vespa
bag
for
or
a
some
week.
storage.
You should try my Vespa 300 for a
You don't
week
have to
with
sell
the
me
cargo box on
You
the
don't have
back.
to sell me a Vespa. I love them. They're great.
They're the best.
My kids won't talk to me if I get on a Vespa. I tried to buy one. I said, look, this will be great. They're not there yet. They're like, Dad, you don't want to be seen on that, and they have a point. Oh, Anthony Lehner.
Yes.
Over Exotic Car Mobile, is doing dry ice car detailing. He called us up and he asked us to do what's our dirtiest car? And I said, well, the dirtiest car I own by far is my 71 Series 2A Land Rover. Did I send you the video of what's going on with that?
It's amazing.
I said, but Anthony, just know, I know you want to just take things off, make them look beautiful. This is like got decades of gunk everywhere. He has been shooting the underside of this thing with this dry ice gun, which I still don't quite know what it is, but it looks like some sort of Batman villain weapon. And it's incredible, Zuckerman. It looks brand new underneath.
Are there any
Let me show you this,
side
Matt Ferry.
effects of? You showed me some other car he
it would
did.
seem
Are there
to-
any negative side effects?
Right, like
Well,
to
that's
your
what we're
hoses,
going-
your cables, whatever.
That's why I said take this one first. because the old Land Rover was a $6,000 purchase. Maybe now it's worth maybe $15,000 with all the work I've put into it. Look at this, Matt. Let's see here. And now he's sending me these videos that when people like us see these things, Zuckerman, you kind of lose your mind. All right, so there's the gun.
So it's just a hose that's like, it looks almost like a power washer that's power washing like a steam.
Yeah,
Wow.
but look what's left behind.
No, I mean nothing. It's like all the grime is coming off. It's pretty amazing.
Describe the metal you're looking at. Brand new.
fresh.
It looks brand new. Yeah. So it's
Now look at
I'm
the gunk
guessing,
up here.
I'm
Look at
guessing it's totally non-abrasive because it's just CO2, right? It's a gas that's being shot at it, not a
Right.
solid. So I'm guessing it's non-abrasive, but
Look
yeah.
what happens to this
I mean,
bolt.
it
Look at the
looks
bolt.
like
Take a look at the bolt he
Oh,
just
wow, the
did.
bolt looks like a brand new bolt. That's amazing.
When you see
Yeah,
this,
that's really cool. Where do you get that rig?
I don't know. He said he just got it, and he was doing it. He did it to a friend's '87 Porsche.
Do you think he has to fill this thing with dry ice, or does it make its own cold CO2?
I don't know anything about it, but when I saw that bolt turn from black gunk to
Brand new,
Brand new
browns.
brass.
Yeah,
Yeah, bronze.
Amazing.
I lost my mind. Because
Wow.
it's a whole new world of OCD cleaning that I never
I gotta
even
call Larry
considered.
about that. My friend, Larry Cassillo. He probably
Yeah,
knows about
find
that.
out about that. I'd like
I
to
just
know more
had,
about that.
This detailer, Derek Bemis, come do all my cars at the shop, and they call his nickname is Mr. McGuire's. He was Barry McGuire's personal guy
Really?
for 20 years. The wheels on my Lambo. He was one of the guys who came over here and worked
Right,
before.
right.
The wheels are glowing gold.
He did your
like an
Countach
orb.
over here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Mr. Bemis.
He did your Countach. It sounds
Bemis
like a
did.
euphemism.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I gotta go. I'm sorry.
Yeah, me too.
Gotta
Well, we're
cruise.
wrapping up time.
All right.
We've said enough.
I'm hungry too.
Where are you guys going to? Where do you got to go? You
Got
can't
my
just.
trainer.
Oh, you're going to train? What does that mean in the days of COVID? Outside?
No, I have a home gym.
He's going to be in the gym with you.
Yes.
And how do you know you're not going to get sick? What are you doing?
I wear a mask, and he wears a mask, and we have circulation goes through.
You don't? Yeah.
We should
Yes.
set up.
That seems
we
a
should
little
set
dangerous.
up car
And I
reviewer,
clean my
car
equipment.
journalist, boxing, MMA.
I'm
and our first bout would be Farah versus Lieberman.
I'm literally the only client he's seeing in person, so
You're gonna
it's
die,
not
man.
Something I'm concerned with.
Could you take Lieberman?
Could I beat up Lieberman?
Yeah.
Oof, depends how much whiskey he's had. He gets feisty.
He does. Right.
That's what I want to see. You versus
you
him.
want a version of bum fights, but car journalists.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
what you're
That's
saying.
what
Which
I'm
would be the
talking
same
about.
thing, pretty much.
Right.
Yes.
All right. Well, we've said a lot, gentlemen.
Thanks for
Matt Farah,
having me.
Congratulations on your new space being open finally.
Finally.
WCCS.com is
It's
the website.
taken a long, long time, and I can't wait to go over and smoke a cigar there.
Yes.
Zuckerman, congratulations on not
Nothing.
being arrested this week.
It's one of those weeks.
It's one of those weeks, but what is that?
Oh, is it your birthday?
You made.
Yeah, listen.
What is that?
Some old lady. She says, "I hope this is my last."
And you want to support us, go to blipshift.com, buy the new Zagato shirt. Thank you to Hawthorne, hawthorne.co, not .com, and policygenius.com. Go there for your insurance. Thank you guys for sponsoring Spike's Car Radio this week. We'll see you next week on Spike's Car Radio.
Thanks for listening to Spike's Car Radio, brought to you by Hangar 56. Listen to new episodes every Wednesday, and be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Ever tried reading while jogging, cooking, or even juggling flaming torches? Yeah, it doesn't end well. But with audiobooks.com, you can conquer books without the circus act. Dive into over 450,000 titles, including more than 10,000 free ones. Get hooked on a bestseller, find your next obsession, or finally read that classic you've been avoiding since high school. And here's the inside scoop. Sign up today for a free 30-day trial and snag your first 3 audiobooks on the house. Sign up for your free trial at audiobooks.com/podcastfree today. That's audiobooks.com/podcastfree.